Reasons may have prompted us to gather at this Toronto Town Hall meeting on the modernization of Canadian copyright law. Some of us may have come to listen and learn, others to present a particular reality, and still others a prescription. Whatever our reasons for coming into this session, I sincerely hope that we will all leave with at least one common result, and that is that we are each a little bit better informed about the past, present, and possibly future interrelationship of Canada's copyright provisions with our lives, our creativity, our economy, and our culture. Je vous souhaite la bienvenue.
I welcome you. My name is Diane Le Breton, and I'm the animator. My role is to facilitate the participation of the greatest number of commentators during these meetings. This is a major challenge in view of the fact that there are more than 300 people here, some 480 who've registered for the webcast.
An adjacent overflow room. So it's great to see this enthusiasm for this topic. Now, no one doubts for 1 second that all of you have something very important to contribute to this consultation process. And we all believe that everyone who wishes to contribute ought to do so. So right off the bat, I want to mention that anyone whose comments are not voiced during this gathering, to please register them via the web at www.copyrightconsultation.ca. As for this meeting, the speakers list is being determined by lottery. This system was reviewed with those here in the hall prior to the start of the webcast. I would now ask for those first numbers to appear so that our speakers can proceed to the microphone. If you have one of those numbers and wish to speak, please go immediately to the microphone and wait for my signal. For our webcast participants, your comments will be treated in the same way now as they were during the Montreal Town Hall meeting. They will be read by my colleague Nicole here, who will have the floor following every fourth speaker. All speakers will be allocated 3 minutes to address us. Ideally, some will take less time so that more speakers can come forward. With that said, I hope to have used up as much time as I will need to moderate our proceedings. Thanks to all of you here in the room who will help make that the case, particularly the speakers who know to limit themselves to 3 minutes, and the audience here in the room who knows to respect each selected commentator's right to speak and be heard. I will now give the floor to our host for the evening, the Minister of Industry and Member of Parliament for Parry Sound Muskoka, the Honourable Tony Clement.
Well, Diane, thank you. Diane, thank you very much, and I just want to bring my official greetings and welcome to everybody who is here in person or those who are online as well for this second town hall. My colleague, the Honourable James Moore, held a town hall meeting in Montreal recently, and he and I together and separately have held over 8 roundtable discussions throughout the country from coast to coast, and those have been very helpful as well. In addition to that, of course, we've had over, I believe we're clocking in at 3,000 submissions that have been filed online. And I dare say, since we still have a few days to go until September 13th as the deadline, there'll be a few more along the way. All of this is extremely helpful to James and myself and our respective departments as we grapple with the issues associated with copyright reform. I don't have to tell anybody in this room, of course, that a lot has changed and a lot still changes practically every day or week in the fields where copyright holds sway. Indeed, when you look at where we are now compared to where we were in the last go-round on a copyright bill, Bill C-61, things have even changed since that short span of time has elapsed. And indeed, if you and I were having a conversation even a couple of years ago where we were talking about tweeting this or twittering that, people would look with very quizzical looks on their face. But now, of course, that's part of the lexicon of social networking. It just shows you that things change by the speed of light. What we're trying to do here is obviously come up with copyright reform that stands the test of time, that is, of course, respectful of the various interests and points of view that have been expressed and will be expressed amongst our fellow Canadians, and of course will help us deal with the not only with the creative economy of tomorrow, but of course help us with economic growth and prosperity for ourselves and our fellow Canadians. So with that, I'm going to stop my remarks because this isn't an opportunity for me to make a speech. It's for you to have your say, and I'll be paying very, very close attention. Thank you very much for being here.
Thank you, Minister.
Hello, my name is Jamie Kidd. I've been a musician for over half my life, primarily as a bass player and now as a producer, recording with several rock, funk, jazz bands, and now doing electronic music. In fact, I have an album coming out from a Berlin-based label next month, and funny enough, it actually won't be marketed in Canada because sales here just aren't high enough. My biggest concern overall is the overall devaluing of the music that has taken place over the past 10 years. Right now, we have a culture of young people, especially children under 16, who have never paid for a piece of music in their life. They have no concept that a recorded song has value. As a musician, I find it infuriating that some people suggest that musicians should simply make a living off from touring and from playing live. What about the record producers, the studio engineers, the studio musicians, the people who do artwork? As a jazz musician, I can tell you that studio recording gigs are essential to making a living. And what if I am incapable of touring, or when I grow older, or incapable just because of health reasons? What if I recorded some incredible albums? Do I not have a right to be compensated for my hard work? And to those who assume copyright impedes creativity, well, I've worked with artists in the US, the UK, Germany, and Spain, and elsewhere where copyright reform has taken place, and I can tell you that I've never heard this complaint from fellow musicians. If there were rules in place to help reinstate the value of music in our culture, and we as artists would again be compensated for our time and effort, this in turn would allow more freedom and time to create and allow ourselves to grow as artists. How can you expect Canadian artists and musicians to grow, create, and compete internationally if we are only allowed to spend at most a few hours a day fostering our talent? The simple answer is we won't, or we will move elsewhere, as many of my colleagues have. If we don't support Canadian culture and stand up for its value, it will disappear forever. Thank you.
Please.